Hey, welcome back, free, beautiful human beings. All you zombies out there that tune in, trolls, people on the interwebs, the sheep that happen to watch the channel, bootlickers, all those. Everyone's welcome. Have some interesting tidbits to share with you guys, some facts, some updates on some videos that you may have seen on this channel and other channels here in North Carolina. And that, we'll get into it in a minute. Just once Mrs. Justice verifies that we got people and they're interacting.
What?
Yeah.
They're here. We got Rain.
All right.
And currently, I see 4. So give them a second. Sing them a song or something.
Yeah. So, welcome to Blind Justice Live. We will be covering a couple clips she's going to share, some audio, some video, and I'll share with you guys some contact information. This is for Rockingham County, North Carolina. So back on the 26th of September, 2020, myself and a handful of others were out at the Madison Police Department here in Madison, North Carolina, protesting the police department. And we were there specifically at the police department in Madison. Set off to the side. The police department was having a fundraiser to help indoctrinate and spread the propaganda to the community, specifically the children of the community, that they are the good guys, that they are the heroes, that they should be trusted implicitly, and that you should respect law enforcement and bow down, that they are the white knights and that they keep the bad people at bay, right? So their fundraiser was to get funds, to get money. They were selling hot dogs or taking donations for hot dogs or whatever. So they were giving their wieners to kids, basically, is what the fundraiser was. And the money was supposed to go for the program Shop with a Cop, where they go, dressed in uniform, assumingly with their cruisers and everything, taxpayer money, and take kids shopping for Christmas presents, right? Well, this goes, again, back to the propaganda, back to the indoctrination, to teach, the youth to trust these gang members, this blue ISIS, these thugs, these criminals that abuse children, that rape children, that murder children, that kidnap children on a regular basis, right? Not just children, but people of all age, all color, all sex, all religion, all manner of ability and disability, right? Yeah. So the law enforcement in America is one of the largest criminal organizations on the planet. And it's a thick blue line, right? It's the code of silence. If there were good cops, there wouldn't be bad cops, right? They would turn them in. They would make sure that this stuff doesn't happen, right? But it happens every day. It happens all over the country. So when we found out they were going to give their wieners to kids to help indoctrinate kids to trust them, we took to the streets in protest. And I had a sign that said, "Cops rape kids." Very succinct, very to the point. And that day on September 26th, an individual who was taking advantage of the masking recommendations, right, was fully masked and gloved and doing his best to conceal his identity, approached and stole the sign that I had out of my hands, right? It's this work of art, this one-of-a-kind work of art, which some of you wonderful people offered to pay over $1,000 for that sign, that piece of art, and we may still auction that off and let somebody claim ownership of that lovely work of art. So we identified the individual after, weeks of the police department not giving us the identity, right? Yeah. So the man stole my sign out of my hand, right? Physically jerked it out of my hand, me, a blind person, right? And then he runs towards the police. And the police grab him because, they kind of had to. He had a whole bunch of protesters saying, "Hey, that man just stole a sign."
With cameras.
Right. With cameras, yeah. So they did. And instead of handing me my property back, the police took my property inside the police department and would not let me go with my property. And the police conducted a search of my property, an illegal search, an unconstitutional search.
A secret search.
Right. Violating the Fourth Amendment, right? Be secure against searches and seizures. Well, they used a proxy, right, to seize my property, and then they illegally searched it. Mm-hmm. So that case against Mr. Gould, it should be felony larceny, according to the North Carolina statute on larceny, regardless of the value, the dollar amount, right? So subsection B says, regardless of the dollar amount, if it's stolen from the person, off the person, then it's a felony. Well, they charged him with misdemeanor larceny, and that is pending, set for February 15th, 2021. So just coming up here in less than a month in Rockingham County District Court. So you can go ahead and play that video of the initial theft, the larceny, and that way people can see that if they haven't seen it yet.
This video is coming to us from NC Tyrant Hunter's page, so y'all be sure to send him some love.
Yeah, NC Tyrant Hunter is out there. That we had behind the scenes, Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Carolina
Guardian.
South Carolina Swamp Pots, Pepperoni Audits.
Yeah.
News Now Charlotte.
Yep. I think Carolina Auditor.
Was he there?
Yeah, there's a handful.
Yeah, there's a few, and I know we're forgetting a couple, but it's been a little while. I'm sorry.
But go ahead and play the video of this felony larceny. This is one count of one felony, and then we'll tell you another way this is a felony, so it should be a second felony. But currently, Mr. Gould, Mason Gould, is only being charged and prosecuted for a misdemeanor.
All right. So we're starting. I may skip a minute. So we have 12:37. You're sitting in a chair holding the sign.
Okay.
Okay. The camera's going to pan away from you for about a minute. So I'm going to skip just a little bit. All right. You guys are just chilling, talking.
Well, that would be because there's already a news channel in North Carolina.
Sharing the volume.
You guys have audio?
Yeah, no doubt.
It should be on there. Ours is on.
Okay.
Right now, it's peaceful because they're over there. Behind the scenes, what's up, baby? Glad to see you, man, in the chat, no less. Are you headed this way, or are you going to take the day off?
Hey, NC Tyrant.
Jimmy, what's up, guys?
You want to go back over there or stay over here with me? I don't care.
Yeah, but you know what they get us for, right? Even giving it away, they'd probably say something about it.
Meat grinder on it. The judges been talking to the meat grinder. Police hat on there.
Thanks, John. Thank you, John. I appreciate that, man.
That would have been excellent.
Two Johns.
Yeah.
Hey, staff! Get that food!
We want charges? I ain't playing this time. We're going to arrest him.
All right. So that's the theft.
Fucking
Felony larceny, right? Go ahead and pull up the larceny statute for North Carolina so they can see that.
On it.
All right, if you would read it for us.
This is the GS 14. Yeah. All right. So we got larceny of property. Larceny, of goods of the value of more than $1,000 is a Class H felony. The receiving or possessing of stolen goods of the value of more than $1,000 while knowing or having reasonable grounds to believe that the goods are stolen is a Class H felony. Larceny is provided in subsection B of this section. Larceny as provided in subsection B of this section is a Class H felony. Receiving or possession of stolen goods as provided in subsection C of this section is a Class H felony. except as provided in subsection B and C of this section, larceny of property or the receiving of or possession of stolen goods, knowing or having reasonable grounds to believe them to be stolen, where the value of the property or goods is not more than $1,000 is a class 1 misdemeanor. In all cases of doubt, the jury shall in verdict fix the value of the property stolen. B. The crime of larceny is a felony without regard to the value of the property in question if the larceny is any of the following. 1. From the person. Shall I continue?
No, there you go. Rest the case.
Pretty straightforward.
So not only did we have people offering to pay us $1,000 for the sign, which sets the value at $1,000 or more, but we have the subsection B that says it doesn't matter about the value if it's stolen from the person, right? Which clearly it was. We have many eyewitnesses. There's video evidence of it. It happened right in front of police officers that witnessed it. So this is very simply a felony larceny. And we had to explain this to the lieutenant there at the Madison Police Department, Lieutenant Smith, I believe, who was a supervisor at the department the night when Keith Benfield attacked me and Mrs. Justice. So that night when in the parking lot where they attacked us, they kidnapped me, Rockingham County is still pursuing charges against me of resisting an officer, even though the prosecutor in the case, Jeff Hucks, who prosecuted me at the district court level, even though he argued in court that it was a consensual encounter between me and Mr. Benfield, that at any point I could have walked away. This is what the prosecutor, Jeff Hucks, argued from the Rockingham County District Attorney's Office, right? So how is there resisting if it's consensual, right? If the officer had no reasonable articulable suspicion, which they didn't, and there was none provided in testimony, there was none entered into evidence, right? It was consensual. So he was not conducting his official duties. He was outside the bounds of the law by stopping us in the first place, right? And so he was not acting in his official capacity. Therefore, there was no resisting in the case where they kidnapped me and are still pursuing charges. It's still pending in the Superior Court with the case against me for resisting an officer. Again, that was prosecuted by Jeff Hucks, who offered no explanation. His closing argument was that the defendant failed to show respect for law enforcement and that it's okay for law enforcement to make mistakes. So he's admitting that they made a mistake, but because I didn't respect them, because they're buffoons and tyrants and kidnappers.
Because
right?
They didn't perceive respect.
Then
you were very cordial.
Yeah.
For the whole thing, you're very polite and
yeah.
Just to be clear.
Right. So they pursued it and got a conviction from the crony corrupt judge Chris Freeman, because they don't care about the law. They don't care about the Constitution. They don't care about truth. They don't care about people, human rights, the liberties that people are supposed to have. Right? They don't care about any of these things. They care about protecting the system and those that are in the system and propagate the system, which are themselves, like other law enforcement officers, the attorneys, the judges, the politicians, right? So let's go ahead and pull up the other way this was a felony. So this is North Carolina, I think it's General Statute 14-122.2.
I can just open the single note. There we go. I don't want to share the... Here you go. All right, 14-112.2. Exploitation of an elder adult or disabled adult. It is unlawful for a person who knows or reasonably should know that an elder adult or disabled adult lacks the capacity to consent or obtain or use, endeavor to obtain or use, or conspire with another to obtain or use an elder adult's or disabled adult's funds, assets, or property with the intent to temporarily or permanently deprive the elder adult or disabled individual of the use, benefit, or possession of the funds, assets, or property, or benefit someone other than the elder adult or disabled adult. This subsection shall not apply to a person acting within the scope of their lawful authority as the agent for the elder adult or disabled adult. 3, if the funds, assets, or property involved in the exploitation of the elderly person or disabled adult is valued at less than $20,000, then the offense is a Class H felony.
All right. So you guys tell us in the chat, give us a 1 in the chat if you think that stealing property, personal property off of a blind adult would fall under that category of exploitation of a disabled adult, according to the statute that she just read to you guys. Give us a 1 if you think that fits this statute. The crime that you saw of Mr. Gould, Mason Gould, stealing my property out of my hand. You think that crime fits the statute? Give us a 1. Give us a 2 if you don't think it fits the crime, if you think that it doesn't match. So again, some of those elements there, it's a disabled adult, and then even listed in the definition, if you wanted to go look at that, blindness, I think, is one of those specifically listed. Mm-hmm. And then you have the property. It's not just value like money or anything. It's just property. And it says temporarily or permanently, withholding it from the disabled adult. So even if it's just temporary, no matter how temporary, right, he's withholding it from me. And then the value is less than $20,000. So I think all those elements are there. I think it's very clear to me that that's another felony that Mr. Gould should be sided with, should be charged with, and should be prosecuted for. So what do you guys think? Are we getting any 2s in there? If there's any 2s, let me know.
I don't see a 2.
Right. So we have...
I see an argument, but they didn't put a 2.
What's the argument?
Naveen says that statute is related to frauds and scams of elderly and disabled mentally. Oh, I doubt seriously that you think that guy scammed you out of that sign, question mark.
It doesn't say anything about scams in the entire statute. Mm-mm. Like, you can read it. There's no. So. No, I mean, you have subsections, but the entire statute mentions nothing about scams. It's very specific about property. So property is listed. The sign was my property, is my property, right? So it's very clear that there's 2 felonies that Mr. Gould should be charged with and prosecuted for. And
Off-Grid Nation gave you 2.
Oh yeah,
but that's all, just a 2. That's the only one.
Okay. If you have a reason why you think that it doesn't fit the statute, let us know. So we have that. Now, I called up the district attorney's office, I don't know, a while ago. It's been over a month, and let them know, hey, I intend to invoke all my victims' rights according to the North Carolina Constitution. So if you want to go and pull up the North Carolina Constitution, I believe it's subsection 37 for victims' rights. And we don't have to read all of it because it's a lot, but you can just read the first couple.
You said subsection. Which subject? I'm sorry. North Carolina Constitution.
You're not ready for this?
I didn't have this one. I'm sorry.
Article 1, section 37.
Rights of victims of crime.
Hmm?
Oh, I'll share this. Sorry, guys. There you go. All right. Start at the top.
Yeah.
Okay. 1, basic rights. Victims of crime or acts of delinquency shall be treated with dignity and respect by the criminal justice system. 1A, enumerated rights. When the crime or act of delinquency is one against or involving the person of the victim or is equivalent to a felony property crime, the victim is entitled to the following rights. A, the right upon request to accurate, and timely notice of court proceedings of the accused. A1, the right upon request to be present at court proceedings of the accused. B, the right to be reasonably heard at any court proceeding involving the plea, conviction, adjudication.
Adjudication?
Thanks. adjudication, sentencing or release of the accused. C, the right to receive restitution in a reasonably timely manner when ordered by the court. D, the right to be given information about the crime or act of delinquency, how the criminal justice system works, the right of victims, and the availability of services for victims. E, the right upon request to receive information about the conviction, adjudication, or final disposition and sentence of the accused.
All right, we can stop there.
Okay.
So it goes on. But basically, it prefaces it after the first subsection doesn't have a preface, right? It just says that victims are to be treated with respect. Let's read that one again.
Victims of crimes or acts of delinquency shall be treated with dignity and respect by the criminal justice system.
Right. It doesn't quantify that. It doesn't say if you're a victim in a misdemeanor case or a felony case or anything, right? In the next subsection, it does quantify, right?
Enumerated rights when the crime or act of delinquency is one against or involving the person of the victim or is equivalent to a felony property crime. The victim is entitled to the following. Or. Yes.
Ooh.
Or.
So read the whole thing again.
Okay. Enumerated rights. When the crime or act of delinquency is one against or involving the person of the victim or is equivalent to a felony property crime.
Okay. So I didn't catch that or the first few times I listened to it. So that or is a big or. Do you know why?
Because it can be either a criminal act against a person or a felony.
Right.
So either one, which seems silly that you would say that if it's both of those things.
Right.
But
yeah. So it could be an act against somebody that doesn't fall in the classification of a felony, right? But larceny,
right,
when it's a person taken off the person, as you just reviewed, is a felony.
Right.
So either way, like it was my person, I'm personally been victimized, right?
Right. Yeah.
So either side of that or fits, right?
Right, because even if they're going to argue with you about this disabled
exploitation,
of a disabled person, which a couple did, I didn't hear any argument or read any argument about the other.
Right.
I mean, it's black. That's pretty clear. Black
felony
and white,
larceny
out of your hand. Like,
right.
Come on.
Right. So I called, I don't know, a month or two ago to the Rockingham County District Attorney's Office to invoke my victim's rights under Section 37, Article 1 of the North Carolina Constitution. So she just read a part of it, right? They're supposed to inform me as the victim of the times and dates, locations of the proceedings, going forward in the case against my attacker, right? Which they haven't. They have done zero informing me of any of that up until today. And so we'll get to that. We'll cover what's up today. They kind of dismissed me the first time I called them about it, because as soon as I gave them the legal name that I use, they're like, "Oh, you're that guy, okay, whatever." Because they were prosecuting me at that time, and they still are, like Superior Court there in Rockingham County, still trying to. Right. So when I called today to get an update, like to find out, hey, what's going on with this case, I have not been informed or updated on anything. Like, has it already gone through? Has it been dismissed? Has it been adjudicated in any way? We've got an audio clip we can play for you of that phone call. So I call in, I get transferred to I believe it's Christy Dickerson, who is the legal assistant in this case against Mr. Mason Gould, who committed several counts of felonies against me. And yeah, the plot thickens here. We'll find out what happens when I try to invoke my victim's rights again. So she's gonna get this audio, this phone call. Just occurred just a little while ago today.
You guys, let me know when it starts. Give me a 1 if you've got audio, okay?
District Attorney's Office.
You should have audio.
Yeah, hello. I'm trying to talk to somebody from the District Attorney's Office about a case that I'm a victim Okay, do you know what case it is? The assailant is, the last name is Gould, first name Mason. What's the last name? Gould, you call it Gould. Okay, that's on the misdemeanor larceny? It should be felony larceny, I believe. He stole my property off my person, was making it a felony in the state of North Carolina. If it's under 1,000, it makes it a misdemeanor? No, there's a first subsection in that statute that it's stolen off of a person. Well, the Mason Gold that I have is on the offense of September 26th of 2020. Officer Fullion from Stoneville charged him. Yeah, that's right. 26. Okay, so if you hold on a second, I'm going to transfer you to the district court secretary, okay? Okay, that's somebody with the DA's office? Yes, you called the DA's office. Yeah, hold on a second, okay?
The disdain.
Right. Just talking.
District attorney. Hi, I'm trying to talk to somebody about a case where I'm a victim.
I'm turn that line down.
Okay. And the last name I was charged. The last name is Gould. Either a value of $1,000 or more, or if it's stolen off the person of another.
Well, sir, I mean, that's up to the officer, of what they charge you with, but all we have is a misdemeanor larceny in the system.
Right, and also up to the district attorney's office, whether to pursue charges or to make a correction if they made a mistake in some charging documents.
That can be done in certain circumstances. I'm just
Okay.
the assistant. I can't make that decision.
So we're going to talk to you to see like what's going on with this case and to make sure that my victims' rights are upheld. Because I've gotten no response from the district attorney's office on this matter. I've called in the past and have not received any updates on this case.
Actually, this case does not fall under Marcy's law. It's not an assault case. It wasn't a physical injury. It was a misdemeanor.
It's section 37 of Article 1 of the North Carolina Constitution, the rights of victims of the crime. So it falls under the North Carolina Constitution, Article 1, Section 37. Hello, are you still there?
I'm here. If you would like the charge change, you should contact the charging officer.
It's all right. I didn't hear that. Say that again. Hello? Hello?
And that's it.
You're still saying hello. Stop it.
Yeah. So disconnection, right? To me, it sounded like she hung up on me. What do you guys think? Put in a 1 if you think she hung up on me. Put in a 2 if you think it was just a innocent disconnection. Curious what you guys think. So the first time I mentioned the North Carolina Constitution, Article 37, she said, hey, call somebody. You can hear that in the background. Hey, call such and such. She's telling somebody to call somebody. And then she's having a sidebar conversation while I'm trying to talk to her about, the Constitution of North Carolina, which they're supposed to be following and upholding.
You got some ones.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like to me
yeah.
when you played it. Yeah. I was like,
Right.
Yeah.
And so then we go back to, again, the first subsection there in Article 1, Section 37 for victims' rights in the North Carolina Constitution, and it talks about being treated with dignity and respect by the judicial system, right? Does that sound like Christy Dickerson? That's who that was. The phone call was with Christy Dickerson with the Rockingham County District Attorney's Office. Does that sound like Christy Dickerson was treating me with dignity and respect when she was ignoring me or was having a sidebar conversation and then hung up the phone? Doesn't sound like that's the case. It sounds like the District Attorney's Office in Rockingham County has disdain for me as a victim and as a defendant, as just a human being, right? The plot thickens. So when we were preparing to go live for this, we had almost everything set up, ready to go. I made a second phone call, actually prior when she was setting up. I made a second phone call and trying to, I thought maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it was just an innocent disconnect, right? And so I got patched back through and found out the name of the lady that I was speaking to was Christy Dickerson at the Rockingham County District Attorney's Office, and got her voicemail. So, I mean, this was back-to-back phone calls. So I don't know why, she couldn't pick up the phone, because it sounds like she knew it was coming from me, that she didn't want to talk with me, right? She had to go talk to somebody and get guidance. What do we do with this guy? It's that guy who knows his rights and knows the Constitution, trying to hold us accountable. What do we do, right? So I left a voicemail for Christy Dickerson, left her a phone number. It's like, hey, give me a call back. Here's the legal name associated with this. Please let me know what's going on. I'm invoking my victim's rights under Article 1, Section 37 of the North Carolina Constitution. Well, right before we went live, you got that other audio ready? Can we play that?
Oh, I texted it over.
So right before we went live, I got a phone call from Christy Dickerson, who actually called me back. Surprise. So kudos to her, right? Up until that point, been messing up. But then she called me back. So I'll give her props, where props are deserved. She actually followed through with a return phone call, and the same day even.
And she didn't get a super attitude with you.
No.
She would say she tried to remain professional.
If anything, you may I won't
Yeah, I'll just
spoil it. Well, just listen. Keep in mind the attitude of the previous phone call, and then listen to the attitude and her calling me back. And let's see what you guys think. If there's any change, if it was an improvement, if it was if her attitude worsened.
I'm gonna try. I haven't shared one of these before, guys, so bear with me. It's just the audio file.
Yeah.
Okay. And I cut off the end, so hopefully you guys.
Hello. Yeah, 1 second.
You guys might have to turn your side up. I got it.
I think I was struggling to get the speaker because it was
right.
bouncing between my headset and the phone and speaker mode.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want to let you know a little bit. I don't have a lot of information, but the case is set for February 15th in district court.
Okay.
And as far as it's set now, the DA's office is going to pursue it as it's charged. That's a misdemeanor larceny. No plea offer has been offered to the defendant, and right now we don't know if he intends to plead guilty or is going to want a trial. That has not been conveyed to us at this point.
Okay. You guys know why? Can you speak to why the district attorney's office is not charging this as a felony?
I cannot, no, sir.
Okay. Who do I need to speak to in order to?
I can give the ADA a message for you. They're not available right now.
Okay. What ADA is in charge of this?
Jeff is in charge.
I'm sorry. Who is it?
Jeff Huck, HUX.
HUX. Hux. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, somebody, I think either you or the person who answered the phone a little bit ago said that the charging officer was a Polian from Stoneville. Is that correct?
Pulliam, yes, sir. Officer Pulliam.
Okay. Any idea why it's an officer from Stoneville when the offense happened in Madison, literally in front of the Madison Police Department?
He is a Madison officer. Yeah, he's a Madison officer, so.
Okay, because somebody told me a minute ago when I called that it was a Stoneville officer.
No, sir. He's a Madison officer, and he's in the system on the website that listed as a Madison officer.
Okay, maybe somebody just misspoke.
Right. That's possible because he is, I mean, he wouldn't have been there if he wasn't, an officer there.
So I think it was at a fundraiser. They had some officers from different municipalities there, so it could have been somebody from a different municipality.
But he is a Madison officer.
Okay. All right, so it's set for February 15th, and we need to talk to Jeff. 9 a.m. Okay. We need to talk to Jeff Hucks. Is that right?
Jeff Hucks will be the ADA handling the case.
All right. Is he going to call me?
Would you like for him to call you?
Yeah, that'd be great.
He'll be back in the office. Yeah.
Okay. Because the other.
This number that you left for me, is that the best number?
Yep, that's perfect. It should be 336-310-9428.
That's what I have, yes, sir.
Okay. And there's another statute in North Carolina that makes this a felony as well. It's exploitation of a disabled adult. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but this definitely falls under that statute as well. I can get that.
If you want to give me that statute, I'll put it on the message for Mr.
Yeah.
Huss.
It's, hold on, we're pulling it up. She's got it right here. It's 14-112.2.
Okay.
Yeah. And it'd be subsection 3, I believe, because the value is less than $20,000.
Okay.
Yeah, but the main point with the larceny statute, it's in the second subsection. The first subsection says that, I think it's part A, says that if the value is $1,000 or more, then it's a felony. And
I got a ding on my phone at that moment.
yeah, her recording cut off.
Sorry.
Do the rest of it.
I'm pulling it up right now. I have to switch screens. Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Thanks, Christy.
Sorry.
Okay, thank you. You have a great day.
All right.
That was my fault, guys. My bad.
Okay, so what do you guys think? Was there a change of demeanor, change in her attitude from the first call when she didn't seem to be prepared at all to talk to me about this, and said that, oh no, it doesn't apply to Macy's law? Was it Marcy's law?
Marcy's law. Snapface said, at least you seem to be trying to be a tad more helpful this time.
Yeah. Right. I think it was a night and day, demeanor check, because she got information, right? She was trying to get it on the phone. Oh no, it's the guy. What do I do? And then she hung up because she was freaking out. This is what I'm assuming has happened, right? Could have been an innocent disconnect, but she got information and oh yeah, you need to watch your P's and Q's. He's probably recording. You need to, be professional and polite and courteous. She probably got some kind of brief on how to act on the phone because it was completely different. She said she was taking notes and she was going to pass on the information to the prosecutor, the ADA. She even gave who's on the case.
She actually gave names.
Right.
She did apologize for the disconnect.
Right.
However it happened,
Sure.
It was disconnected,
right,
intentionally or not. And
right.
She apologized.
So she recovered. Great job recovering. Way to go. But that is right. The first call was very suspect, right? And very much not courteous or respectful, right?
I agree that it's better.
Yeah. So then we have a name there. She said the ADA on this case is Jeff Hucks. Well,
anybody remember who that is?
Yeah, I told you earlier.
Quiz time. Hold on. I won't make him wait. It's okay.
So Jeff Hucks is the assistant district attorney in the Rockingham County district attorney's office, who prosecuted me at the district court level, for the non-crime of not giving ID to a tyrant who was attacking me and my wife, right? and he didn't prove his case in court. He had no evidence in court. His only argument was that I showed a lack of respect for law enforcement, and law enforcement can make mistakes. That was his case, his entire case.
Yeah.
Right. The witnesses, supposed witnesses that he called, all testified that they didn't see a crime. Right. So yet he did that, and the crony, dirty, nasty, disgusting, despicable thing that hides in a robe, Chris Freeman, sentenced me to a year probation. Right. The
Now,
jag-off, right? Because he was a JAG officer, so he's complete jag-off.
question.
Yeah.
Hux could have chosen to dismiss
Yeah.
the case.
Well,
that
I mean, he
was
could
brought
have
against
he
you,
could
right?
have
or made a motion
dropped the
to-
charges.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Judges dismiss.
Instead, he chose
prosecution
to
could have dropped the charges.
pursue charges.
Yeah.
Like as much
Right.
as he possibly could,
Yeah.
and recommended 2 different times that you be arrested for failure to appear. But
Above,
the
yeah,
judge issued
yeah,
a failure
above and
to-
beyond. Yeah, so he's going
Yeah.
above and beyond legally what he can do, what the North Carolina Constitution allows him to do, right?
It's
What the
working
U.S.
hard.
Constitution allows him to do, right? Like wanting bail money set and all these things, right? Excessive bail, excessive bond, right? 8th Amendment stuff, violations of the 5th, the 8th, the 14th Amendments, like left and right, violations of the Americans with Disabilities Act, the North Carolina anti-discrimination, right? You can even have a strong claim against Mr. Hux and Mr. Freeman that they themselves have violated this North Carolina statute of exploitation against a disabled adult, right? And that's
Yeah.
50,000. So that's in the second, it's another tier of felony, right? Between 20 and 100,000. It's a whole other tier of felony, right? That they exploited $50,000 from me, right? And they're still holding on to that, right? So the county or the state or whoever has this money is using that money, right? It's not just sitting somewhere in a vault. They're using it. They're making
yeah,
money
they're
off of that money,
investing it,
right?
or-
They're investing it. They're using it
They
to
bought some crypto
for a
for it.
loan, right? Who knows, right? They're making gains on that money where we're
Yeah.
having losses on that money. Not only are we having to pay interest fee for the bank loan for that money, but we could have invested that money, somewhere else and made gains. So clear exploitation by Mr. Jeff Hux and Chris Freeman. And you guys think that I'll ever receive a phone call from Jeff Hux? Anybody? Anybody think that this guy's going to call me?
Have we ever?
And because I'm the victim, do you think he'll have the fortitude to call me and be like, "Hey"?
I'm going to vote 1.
You think he will?
I'm going to say yes.
You're full of shit.
No, I have to hope in humanity. That I have to leave people space for a U-turn.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to.
Yeah.
Emerald Trans City Transparency is going for 2. Kansas says a 2.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
it's
know.
not likely that.
Expect the best and anticipate the worst.
Sure.
How
Yeah.
about that?
It's very, very unlikely that this corrupt weasel, Jeff Hux, will give me a phone call and honor the North Carolina Constitution, Article 1, subsection 37, for victims' rights. Right.
So to recap,
Mhm.
I think this is right. It's the first time you went up to the courthouse.
Yeah.
You were standing there trying to get in. I forget
Mhm.
the date. The prosecutor requested a failure to appear, and the first judge was
Yeah.
like, "Oh no, not this time."
Yeah.
That was still Hux, right?
I think so.
And then again on the 6th, that it comes
October,
from the
right?
of October.
Yeah.
Comes from the prosecutor when you're standing at the courthouse trying to gain access to stand before the
Yeah.
judge, and he's like, "Hey,
Well, at
let's-"
that point, I think they already made a prearranged plan because it happened so fast. Like, I don't think
Well,
he made an
okay.
argument. Like, he may have made an argument. in
maybe he
court.
went through
I
the
don't know.
motions. Well,
Yeah.
who knows? Because
But they already had it planned. They probably already had it printed out.
Okay. Naveen sent us an email.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Stephen is posting a lot. I would like to read some of his real quick
Okay.
if you have a.
Go ahead.
I appreciate the passion at which I think he's posting these, and I'll get to your email in a minute, Naveen. I don't know. Let's see. It's a lot of them. Give me a second. So he was wanting you to ask her if a member of the bar is acting as a judge or practicing law from the bench, and then he wanted you to give the people orders. They work for you. Don't act like they're your slave or their slave. Hold on. I scrolled. It keeps jumping. No probable cause, no crime. Reminder that you operate under military oath. Don't degrade yourself. Statute is not law. He said, "Fine justice needs to give some military justice. These prosecutors are bar member mafias.
Yeah.
Probable cause to give ID. You demand to dismiss the case because you're not a slave." Like, I appreciate the passion. Oh, I didn't read this one. The only loss is not fully knowing your rights, not understanding your military oath, and living in servitude to public servants. So like, I think I appreciate the ideals where this is coming from, but like in the real world and practical application of like demand that they do this, like that doesn't work. Like, or it hasn't been working. I don't know how else to.
It may work
I don't
some places,
understand.
but yeah, and I don't know. Every court is different. Every
Well, that's
individual is
true.
different, right? Every fucking pretender that puts on those robes and wants people to worship him as he sits on a dais, like they call a bench or whatever. They're different, right? All the prosecutors are different. Like depends on where you are in the country and where
That's
you
true.
know, the political climate and the social climate and the level of activism and the level of media coverage, right? If people, if different forms of media are willing to share and post, it's like, oh man, this injustice needs to be corrected, right? It really depends. It's very situationally dependent. It's very regionally dependent, geographically, right? And the minds of those indoctrinated, it's very much dependent on that, on the population around you. Like if they are indoctrinated and they bend over and they take it from law enforcement because they think that they have to. They think that when law enforcement rapes people all the time, that's a good thing because they're cops and they can do no wrong. And therefore the district attorney can do no wrong and the sheriff can do no wrong and the judges can do no wrong, right? Even though they have judges, overdosing, from whatever it was, methamphetamines, like something, nearby.
Yeah,
right. The Chief Justice in
Guilford County.
Guilford County. Yeah. Like, yeah. So you have this stuff, right? They have this cognitive dissonance in the population where it just gets swept under the rug if it's reported at all. Right.
Yeah.
And if you ask questions about it, if you try to bring it to light, then you're going to get retaliation, right? Which is where all of this stemmed from, is the work we were doing in Guilford County, trying to expose the corruption and the heinous acts of their public officers in the nearby county. And so this little backwards county here with these podunk cops that don't know anything, like they're like, oh, we're going to show you, right? And so now we have this whole ordeal. They don't even know how to charge somebody according to their own statutory laws, right? We had to tell the supervisor that Keith Benfield said wasn't present, wasn't there. He was only a couple blocks away. Lieutenant Smith. Clint was a few blocks away, right? But Benfield's like, oh, I'm the supervisor, right? Well, then we have, when this felony larceny happened in their presence at the Madison Police Department, I had to inform Clint Smith to look up the statute and say, no, there's a subsection right there that says if it's stolen off of the person, it's a felony, right? Mm-hmm. Where's my property? And they still hadn't returned my property, right? They were conducting an illegal search while they were contacting the prosecutor, most likely Hux, to try to find a way to hook me up with something, to charge me with the crime somehow. That's why they were searching that sign, was trying to find something illicit or illegal in there that they can then bring charges against me. And instead, they are not properly charging the assailant, the attacker, the actual criminal in this case. They're not charging him or prosecuting him properly. So it's just more corruption, more bias, more disease and dirt in the Rockingham County government and the North Carolina courts that we're exposing here. It's nothing new. This is old. And this is kind of minor stuff too, comparatively. We've got all kinds of other things that we'll be sharing with you guys in the future and revealing some really horrible, heinous activities and crimes of law enforcement and prosecutors and judges. Like, some people have been giving us dirt like left and right. So we're just figuring out the best way to compile it, to present it to you guys. So anybody in Rockingham County that knows they've got skeletons in their closet that works in an official capacity, you probably want to clean up your stuff and leave because the stuff's about to come to light. And get ready. Yeah. Got anything else?
Stephen was continuing to talk back and forth. He said the U.S. corporation is dissolved. Oh, first he said it was the people versus the U.S. corporation. U.S. corporation is dissolved and now under military jurisdiction as per the Declaration of Independence. That's why military flags at the inauguration. And then your military oath does not dissolve and stands over any judge or police officer. They're chatting back and forth. Rogue Nation, what's up?
Well, if you're interested in contacting the Rockingham County District Attorney's Office and encouraging them to, do the right thing, right? She claimed that, you have to go to the police officer to correct the charges.
Who? Yeah.
Like, have you guys ever heard that where a district attorney's office is like, oh, no, we have no power to change how we're charging somebody in court. They have to go to the police officer. They do it all the time, right? They add charges all the time. A lot of times it's because the police officers are just idiots and they don't know how to follow the law or what law applies. And so they just put down some random nonsense. And then the prosecutor's office, the district attorney's office, changes the charges or adds charges, right? And they just add stuff on. A lot of times it's retaliatory. So that the Rockingham County District Attorney's Office, I believe, is 336-648-6010.
What the hell, dude? You just read my mind.
Yeah.
Like, I literally just read a question and said, what's the number? And I was willing to look it up.
Look it up. Verify that what I'm saying is true.
I just believed you.
Well, I called it a couple times today, so.
Yeah. He asked if you asked for your property back in writing.
No, because it was right there on the spot. We had, I don't know, half a dozen police officers right there. Yeah. It's like if they watched a purse snatcher snatch a purse from a lady, and instead of handing it right back because they stopped the guy, feet from me, instead of handing the purse right back to the lady,
right? They
take the purse inside the police department and search it.
Yep. And keep it there for
10, 15 minutes. Yeah.
Like
what? Why? Why would they do that? Is that legal? No, it's not.
Use it. I have the district attorney's office in Rockingham County as 336-634-6010.
I messed up. Yeah, 634-6010. 634-6010.
Gotcha.
So if you do call, you do you. If you're going to try to help, you probably need to be respectful and kind. But you want to talk to either Jeff Hucks or Christy Dickerson, who's covering this case. It's a larceny case. It should be a felony larceny case according to the North Carolina statute. If you want to argue that there should also be an exploitation of a disabled adult, that I believe is NCGS 14-122.2.
112.2.
Oh, 112.2. Sorry. 112.2.
I got you, fam.
So you can make those arguments if you want. But essentially, what we're asking for is for the people to call, and if you're going to call, is to make sure that the North Carolina Constitution, Article 1, Section 37, the victim's rights are upheld. Because up until this point, they have not reached out to me. I've had to reach out to them and say, hey, I want to be informed. Hey, let me know what's going on with this. Hey, I would like to speak. Hey, right? All these things that are supposed to be initiated by the district attorney's office. Usually they use that part of the Constitution to hurt people, right? And there's a codified section in the general statutes as well, because there has to be for like them messing up, even though they've written themselves and exempt, like that there can't be any monetary damages, there can't be any criminal liability when they screw you out of your victim's rights. That's in the Constitution. Like they've written that in, that they're exempt from any kind of retaliation, any kind of responsibility under the law, right? So if you're going to help, you can just remind them, hey, this is part of the North Carolina Constitution, Article 1, Section 37 for victims' rights. Anything else?
I got a super chat from, I don't know how to say your name. Hoenir. Sorry. Canute. Canute. Thank you. It says, I'm for exploitation of adults. Big smiley face. Love you both.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right. I think that's what we have right now. February 15th, I guess, is when this case is supposed to be heard, scheduled currently. I don't know if it's going to stay that way. If they decide to actually go and change the charges to felonies, you think that they might have to give him more time to prepare. They're like, oh, by the way, we're not charging you with this misdemeanor anymore. We're charging you with felonies. You think he would have some due process rights there to mount an adequate defense. But the Rockingham County, actually Hux himself demanded my presence the same day that something was filed in court.
Yeah.
So we know that they don't uphold due process and the rights of the people in Rockingham County courthouse.
The
So
ones they don't like.
yeah, at least maybe the ones they don't like. So we'll find out. We'll keep you guys posted. Let us know if you want to share anything. If you happen to reach out to them, you can email us insightisfree@gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in. Peace and love to everybody. As always, Dave Crystal Bear.